Hey there, Enthusiacs. Welcome back to the Real Hero Talk podcast. I am your host, Judge Greg. Joining me today, I have Axalon and the Black Dragon. Guys, welcome to Hero Talk.
Thanks.
Good to be back.
All right, and today, it is a special Hero Talk. We have united the league of the three of us. That's horrible.
We're all in.
That sounded more epic.
Is it League 3?
Yeah. We're going to come together for a league of our own. How many more of these can we throw out there?
Right now, over me.
Yeah. All right. So we're doing Justice League. It just came out. It's a DC movie. We all saw it. I think it's still in theaters. I don't think they've sent it running yet.
It's still in
theaters.
As of recording, it's only been, 2 weeks?
It's only been 2 weeks, but I'm still asking the question, so that tells you something. Okay. So we are actually going to talk Justice League. And as always on this podcast, it is a spoiler podcast. Nothing is off the table. Everything is fair game. You've been warned.
Superman actually doesn't come back to life.
All right, yeah. First
all
spoiler.
a dream.
First spoiler. Yeah, Superman's in this movie. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, folks.
It's not really a spoiler, though.
Superman's actually in Justice League. I know. I was surprised too. But all right, so as long as we're talking Superman, before I even say what I think about this movie, how distracting is that CGI for his upper lip? I knew it. I knew as soon as they announced it, anytime he's on scene, I'm going to be staring at it. But I didn't realize just how obvious it was going to be. It was like the top half of his head was a normal person, and the bottom half of his head was the Polar Express.
Honestly,
it was really took me out.
I didn't even notice because
Are you serious? It's the first thing I noticed.
I don't listen to any kind of teasers or anything. After I watched the very first trailer and I just went dark.
Wow.
On the entire thing.
Oh, I noticed.
Good on you.
I know. I mean, it was in the very first scene, the very first shot of the film was Superman with his CGI lip, and anytime he was on screen,
I wasn't paying attention to his lip. So I didn't notice it.
Oh, I know. Every scene he was in, I could give you the rundown of every scene that his lip was in.
I noticed it a lot more the second time around. There was maybe one or two instances in the first time where I saw it, and then the second time it's just it's all I could do not to notice it.
Oh, yeah. I hope they try to fix it a little bit more for the Blu-ray, because for me it was painfully obvious.
What's more painfully obvious?
Edition.
CGI Superman lip or CGI Tarkin Leia?
Good God. I'll take Superman lip over Tarkin and Leia.
But that lip, it was in so many scenes that were supposed to be powerful scenes. And instead, I'm just looking and saying, that's not the real half of Superman's face. That is a fake half of Superman's face right there, everybody. And I'm just not mad. I'm not mad. I know that they did what they had to do because Brandon Routh was required by Paramount to keep his mustache for Mission Impossible. I'm just disappointed that they didn't do a better job.
Yeah, wrong Superman.
Rob, I said the wrong Superman. Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill. That's what they should have just done. They should have just said, "Oh, you can't shave your mustache? Let's just have Brandon Routh do those scenes."
Just don't explain it. Just
don't even explain it. All of a sudden, just a different Superman's there, and see who notices.
It'll you know what? It'll make more sense when they do Flashpoint, because then they can actually do that.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no, they can't, because Brandon Routh is the Atom now.
He is. He's the Atom.
TV shows don't matter.
On Legends of Tomorrow. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Well, they made a big deal of it when they were casting Flash and Deathstroke back in the when this was first announced. So I can only imagine what they're going to do for this.
We have Deathstroke in the TV and in the movies now, so
yeah.
Yeah, but it was a tug of war. The drama was high. They just the reason they couldn't have Deathstroke in the show, or I don't know if you remember season 3 where they were yeah, we're only going to do Deathstroke in one episode, and he's going to be severely underpowered from what he was, and then we're just never going to see him again.
I'm pretty sure he came back.
He does come back.
He came back recently.
In this recent season, but I haven't been watching. So anyway, let's talk Justice League. I don't want to talk Arrow. I do not want to talk Arrow. So
all in.
We are going to talk Justice League. So I actually, other than Superman's lip, which was easily the worst part of this film and took me out of it, and I still complain about, obviously, I actually loved the crap out of this movie. I laughed and was entertained the entire time. And I know, it has been getting mixed reviews. And when I say mixed, I mean mostly bad. but I can't help it. I loved this movie, and I will probably watch it a couple more times, hopefully with a lower resolution, so I don't... This is like one of those movies where I won't buy the Blu-ray. I'll watch the DVD so that it'll be less noticeable when Superman's on screen. But
I am surprised. I'm genuinely surprised by that coming from you.
yeah. Why? That I liked it?
Yeah, like you've been really adamant about like it's gonna be terrible.
I thought it was going to be absolute and total garbage, and the initial reviews came out, and it was bad. When I went to see it, at that time, it had a 27% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. So I was ready for it. I don't even know what it is right now. Well, look, at time of recording, Rotten Tomatoes, Justice League. Get to hear me Google. That makes for riveting podcasting, right?
Yes, the sound of Googling.
The sound of Googling. It's actually at 41% right now. So
yes.
Wow.
It's gotten better. The audience score is 82%. So, I mean, most people who go see it like it. I think it's a very enjoyable movie. Don't get me wrong. It's enjoyable, and I liked it. I mean, I laughed at a lot of different parts of this movie. I enjoyed a lot of it. I walked out of usually when I walk out of these movies, and when I say walked out of these movies, I mean like for Batman v Superman and for Suicide Squad, because I actually quite liked Wonder Woman. I had nothing bad to say when I walked out of it. And this one, my complaints were nitpicky stuff. Like when I walked out of this movie,
too, yeah.
I wasn't complaining like that was a stupid story, and I wasn't talking about how all the action scenes were bad. My complaints were, number one, Superman's upper lip, and number two, I really wish they would have shown more of the Flash being faster than Superman. Like those are my two biggest complaints. And when that's what I'm walking out of the movie upset about, the movie probably did a pretty decent job at doing what it set out to do. So I don't know. What'd you think, Vernon?
I had a good time. I did think a couple of lines were pretty cheesy. I will say
Name one.
Well, I like truth, but I'm also a fan of justice.
I thought that was
so
fine.
cheesy, but
I
loved it.
Fine.
I loved it. That's what I'm saying. Like
yeah.
I have to recognize though that it's cheesy and that I still love it. And then the weird cyborg booyah at the end.
He had to say booyah. He's cyborg. He has to say booyah.
Say booyah other
Yes, there
than
is.
like
It is his trademark catchphrase.
if I'm just some Joe Schmo, regular moviegoer, and I go into that and I'm like, man, that movie was really cool, and then get to that part, I'm gonna immediately think that there is something wrong with that person. It just came out of nowhere for that particular character. If they had shown scenes where he was saying it earlier, like in his football days, then it would make sense. Like that's his catchphrase, and it's him accepting that this is who he is now, and like, you know, he's coming out of his shell, so to speak. But it made no sense for him to say that.
I waited almost 2 hours to hear him say booyah, and you will not besmirch booyah.
But other than that, yes, I enjoyed it. I had a good time with it. I have my questions. I have a lot of nitpicks, but other than that, I mean, Steppenwolf, But I really had a good time with it.
No, I hear you there. All right, so Axalon, what'd you think?
So here's where I show just how little of DC I know if it's not related to Batman. And that is, I had no idea who Steppenwolf was, like, at all.
Yeah, he's
had
not.
this big reveal.
To be fair, he is not really as big a character from the comic books as some people have been making him out to be. You could read comic books for almost a decade and not actually come across Steppenwolf doing anything of note.
But yeah, like I was expecting like Darkseid, and then I was like, who is this guy?
Yeah, I think they're saving Darkseid. But
yeah, they probably are.
It's kind of hard when you have all the parademons coming out, like, oh, who am I going to see? And so even in my head, I'm thinking maybe they're not going to use Darkseid, but maybe I'll see Calabac, maybe Desaad. Nope. I mean, maybe Granny Goodness and the Furies, and who am I? Steppenwolf. Oh, okay, I see.
That would be way too much for the regular moviegoer. So they had to boil it down.
I heard his name, like Steppenwolf, and I was like Steppenwolf,
like Born to Be Wild. Yeah. I imagine if they were going to make a Fantastic Four movie with Galactus, but they decided not to use Silver Surfer as the Herald of Galactus. That's what happened here. They decided to use somebody who's not as well known as one of Darkseid's buddies. And they mentioned Darkseid. He got a name drop in there, which was pretty cool.
Yes, he did.
But once, just to let us know he was coming. But I think I would have appreciated it better if it was either Desaad or Kalibak.
Can I just say, I am so glad that we didn't get some scene of Darkseid sitting on a throne somewhere, pondering what to do against the Justice League, like a certain other menacing villain.
Yeah.
I was half expecting a post-credit scene where he's like, "Fine, I'll do it myself."
I'll do it myself, yeah. I mean, basically, after watching a final scene in which the Justice League has to fight the Chitauri to get the Tesseract back, it wouldn't have surprised me. There was a point when I sat there and looked and said, this is basically the same thing, right? They need to get the magic cube, but the flying alien things are in the way, so they had to fight them.
Oh, no, this is 3 magic cubes.
Tesseract Tri.
Yeah, the Triceract.
The Triceract.
There we go. Patent pending. Trademark Hero Talk.
You're welcome, DC. Hire me.
All right. So I want to talk the cast, although I don't want this to take forever, so we're not going to go too much into it, because we've talked about a lot of these people before. So, playing Superman was Henry Cavill, not Brandon Routh. Henry Cavill playing... You know what? I liked Brandon Routh as Superman. You know what? So sue me. He did a great job.
Yeah, I liked him as Superman. It's just there were other parts of that movie.
Yeah. So, but Henry Cavill, I mean... I like Henry Cavill as Superman, too. I mean, there's nothing bad to say about it. I liked how his Superman looked when he actually finally showed up. I liked... I mean, when I say I liked how he looked, I mean, like, the costume, and his hair was different. Did you notice his hair was different?
Yeah.
Yeah. He parted it on the other side. Did you not notice that, Axalon? Did you not notice where his hair was parted?
Well,
I don't look at Superman's hair part. I'm sorry.
Now.
Yeah, he's on the side of justice.
Oh,
yeah, I liked the suit colors. The colors in general for this movie were much brighter than the last time we saw Superman and Batman together.
I feel that's a deliberate stylistic choice.
I feel like this movie was 120 minutes of we are so sorry for Batman v Superman.
Look, here we are being just like Marvel. Ha ha ha. See, guys? We're cool, right?
And we'll get to kind of that later. I know we're on characters right now, but I definitely think that a lot of that has to do with like the corporate side of things. Warner Brothers
get to
is
that
definitely
later.
blinking.
Yeah.
In terms of like playing chicken with Marvel, they blinked.
Yeah. I will say, though, I mean, when you look at how their movies were doing, other than Wonder Woman, they didn't have a lot going for them. And I think Wonder Woman did a lot. But you know what? What Wonder Woman did right, though, is it didn't try to mimic a Marvel movie. Wonder Woman just kind of said, hey, here's the source material. Let's pay it justice. No pun intended. And that's sort of how Wonder Woman succeeded, is instead of trying to be dark or broody or trying to get a hook, the hook was, we have a great character in Wonder Woman, let's put her on screen. And that's what they did, and it worked out. And what made this movie work at its best is when they actually took these characters and put them on screen and said, look, these are these wonderful characters. We have brought them to life and put them on screen. But you do get a lot of what was clearly some corporate backlash, and sometimes I really wish they had done a little bit more of that instead of some of the stuff they did. But we'll get to that. So Ben Affleck as Batman, we'll maybe see him again. I don't know. I'm kind of getting sick of this story, but he was at least Batman in this. So that is all I can say, is that Ben Affleck is definitely Batman in the current movie that we're discussing.
Batman in that he's acting, or in that you really feel like this is Batman that you're seeing on screen? Because I felt like
in that when Ben Affleck was saying his lines from the script, that line in the script had the words Batman next to it to let him know that
Batman
that was his thing to
Bruce
say.
Wayne.
Yeah.
So I felt like he was tired, especially in the reshot scenes. It seems like he was kind of done.
Yeah, you can. I mean, and given that he's playing a Batman who's been doing this for 20 years and is supposed to be getting a little tired of doing it, it was definitely believable. And I think some of it is that Ben Affleck, I think, is getting a little bit tired of the Warner Brothers runaround. I believe him when he said he was excited. I think he's probably in his head thought, this is great, I get to play Batman. Oh, this is a great take on the character, the older character, like I can play. And then he's getting all this runaround and all the reshoots, and I think he's at the point where he thinks, you know what? This isn't as fun as I thought it was going to be. I'd much rather just do my own thing.
Yeah, well, well, good luck to him, and here's to hoping Flashpoint does some stuff that can actually release him from it.
I think he's been a great Batman. Don't get me wrong. He was a shining beacon in Batman v Superman, and he was my favorite part of Suicide Squad. And it's hard for me to not love Batman in any form he's at, but I think maybe there might be somebody else who might have more patience for the character in terms of creatively, I think, because I think Ben Affleck had a very specific vision for how he wanted to play it, and I think he's a big enough name where he just doesn't quite accept that he can't do that.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's just me. I'm hypothesizing. Lois Lane, Amy Adams. This was the perfect amount of time for Amy Adams to be in the film as Lois Lane. This is the amount of screen time she should have had in Batman v Superman.
Why was she in this movie?
Well, she had to be in the movie because she needed to try to
she
talk
was
Superman
the big
down.
guns.
She really didn't. Tying... Can we have her do something? Like, be a reporter, Just kind of...
I think her being a reporter is a Superman movie thing. I think for the purpose of Justice League, she served that purpose well, and Batman v Superman taught us what happens when you try to just make up extra things for Lois Lane to do.
Well, for her to tell us that Lex Luthor is the bad guy?
Yes, without her, who would have told us Lex Luthor was the bad
guy? That's basically what her thing was. And then for this movie, she was basically fawning over Superman the whole time.
I would have really liked to see Lois do more in the movies that she's been in, but I think for Justice League, especially when the cast is full as it is, this was the perfect amount of screen time for Lois Lane to appear, but yet to not be over-encumbering or giving her extra things that she didn't need to do.
And so that leads me to a question then. Are we just running with the fact that Superman is going to go crazy without this one person in his life?
Well, he just came back from the dead-ish, so... Which is another weird point, because they very deliberately showed at the end of Batman v Superman that, Superman's still alive, there's still stuff happening down there, and then in this movie, they just said, no, turns out he was really dead.
He really did die. No nap.
He started only partially dead, but then he was actually really dead.
Nearly dead. There's a difference.
In all this time of me making he's taking a nap joke, he actually wasn't taking a nap.
Yeah, they actually had to reboot him, which is weird. I wonder I wonder how many story elements got switched out during the reshoots, because I'm sure there were. And the rumors were rampant that there's almost a completely different cut of this movie out there.
Yeah.
That was the Zack Snyder cut that fans have been clamoring for. I follow some people on Twitter, and they are fervent Zack Snyder fans and are convinced that not only was this movie a travesty, but that somewhere out there is the Zack Snyder cut, which is a masterpiece, and that's what they want. I don't know if that's really correct. I think probably the Zack Snyder cut is a lot more of what we've seen before. I think Joss Whedon's fingerprints were all over this movie.
Oh, yes.
So I'm sure it is markedly different. I would love to watch that just to be able to compare the two of them, but I don't know if I would consider it that it would be better. I think it would probably just be a lot of what we've seen already from him.
Well, what are you going to do? But yeah. Lois Lane, yeah, I didn't see why she was in this movie, why she's so integrally tied with Superman's character, but I guess I see what you guys are saying, and yeah, I'm kind of, that's really it, because that's all she had to do.
Yeah. It was a good moment to try to humanize Superman and try to show why we're getting a brighter, happier Superman back, so that we actually finally get comic book Superman show up towards the end of this.
Where he cracks the smile.
Yeah, he's not angry all the time, where he's happy and he's light and fun, and we haven't seen that light and fun Superman. We've seen Superman trying to be Batman, and again, it's Batman v Superman. If I could put myself in the movie, I would walk up to these two characters and say, there's only enough room in this movie for one of you to be broody. So one of you, and I don't care which one, needs to lighten up. And Superman finally lightened
civilians.
up. And then, funny thing, Batman also lightened up.
As a result.
As a direct result of me hypothetically saying that to them during the course of Batman v Superman, yes.
Well done, Judge Craig.
There you go. The
power of the real hero talk.
All right, Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman and Diana Prince. I have nothing bad to say about Gal Gadot. I just don't.
Neither do I.
I think it wasn't, her character wasn't written as well in this as it was in the actual Wonder Woman movie, but still done really well. I like that it tied in a lot of her connection to Steve Trevor, and I just want to point out that if you have a bomb that has enough power to destroy 4 city blocks, and you throw it up in the air as high as she did, it still has enough power to destroy 2 city blocks. But, that's...
You mean the explosion won't be contained in that one spot where it explodes?
Yeah, explosions aren't exclusive to going up. You know what I mean? Explosions are omnidirectional. And that's not a hit on the character, obviously. That's a hit on the writers. But either show that it went way up in the air, or, be prepared to have at least something else blow up when that happens.
Yeah, okay. And yeah, I have no complaints about her. I think that she wasn't written as well as she was in Wonder Woman, and I don't think that she was directed as well.
No.
But it's not
Gal Gadot, obviously, because we've seen what happens when, the better script and a better director.
Oh, yeah. And I didn't like the way that she was shot.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree.
Way too many ass shots for
there
my...
were way too many.
Liking.
Wait, right? Like, it was getting uncomfortable a little bit. When you're thinking about how many times they had to frame the shot so that they could get a booty shot of Wonder Woman. And I thought, Wonder Woman succeeded as a movie without playing this game. Maybe, yeah, you got, get your naked Chris Pine scene, but, I mean, what movie doesn't have a naked Chris Pine scene in it these days?
I mean, it's almost required by every contract that he signs.
Yeah. I guess if I did have a complaint about Wonder Woman, it's when it comes time for Superman to fight the League, and he's going up against Wonder Woman, I would have expected them to be a little bit more evenly matched than they were.
Really?
It's just because I've seen in the comic books, there are times when they had to fight each other. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't think that Wonder Woman should be able to straight up beat Superman, but they've definitely been able to hold their own against each other a lot more than what we saw here. Because while they certainly did, and there was the nice part where, Superman headbutts Wonder Woman, and then she takes it and headbutts him back. But I still would have expected her to then not just go down with the next headbutt.
I would accept that if this was like a calm and controlled Superman, but I think Berserk Superman is just a monster, and yeah, I expect that result. Wonder Woman loses badly.
Yeah.
And he's Berserk and using his full power, and she's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess
she's
maybe
not
she's trying not to hurt him specifically.
Yeah, she's not trying to draw blood.
Yeah. Superman did seem a little OP in this. I mean, at the point
Superman.
where, yeah, I get that, but like when he shows up and starts hitting Steppenwolf, I start to ask, okay, so what does the rest of the League need to do now? Because it seems like Superman's got this under control, maybe. And then he leaves to do crowd control. Like, no, Superman, why don't you stay fighting Steppenwolf, since we only seem to need you for that, and maybe everyone else can go do crowd control, except that they can't just pick up buildings. Basically, this turns into the fact that Superman just needs extra people around to make sure he doesn't accidentally kill a bunch of civilians.
Or maybe
he learned that lesson from Zod.
It's because Steppenwolf was so weak compared to him that he could afford to rescue civilians. He just like punches them. He's like, "Oh, I'll pick up this building full of civilians and evacuate them. Come back, punch you again, and pick up like another
still
building."
Bothering you?
Yeah, it really went a little one-sided once Superman showed up. And I'd like to say that now that Superman was there, they were able to, between Aquaman, Wonder Woman, and Superman, now Steppenwolf was just way overmatched. But at the same time, at the beginning of the movie, we got to see Steppenwolf basically fight literally the gods and like all of mankind, literally every person who was able to fight. And
even
the Amazons.
Green Lanterns.
Yeah, and the Amazons, and the Atlanteans, and the Green Lantern. Somebody even figured out which Green Lantern it was. I think it was like Yalan Gur. So yeah, so they actually identified him as Yalan Gur. And so I looked him up, and somebody figured out, like, yeah, he's drawn exactly like Yalan Gur, which makes sense, because Yalan Gur was a character. I've read some story with him in it, but Yalan Gur was a Green Lantern from, I suppose it was supposed to be around 2,000 years ago for the Earth sector. So, we get to see a little brief glimpse of the Green Lantern Corps.
I mean, it looked fine. Better than the Hal Jordan mess we got in 2011, but yeah. I mean,
I kind of still would have liked to have seen a Green Lantern show up in this movie, given that...
Like in present day.
Yeah, like, because Steppenwolf is back, so you would think that Green Lantern would think, hey, look, the Mother Box just got reassembled. I better go stop the Triceract, bringing it back. And so he decides to beeline to Earth to help out. And again, I don't think we're going to see Hal Jordan or Jon Stewart, but maybe Abin Sur could show up at this point.
That's a good point. Although they did, I know this doesn't count because it actually wasn't in the movie, but they did have like a scene or whatever where Kilowog and that chicken one go to talk to Batman.
Oh God, I'm glad they cut that out.
That was supposed to be a post-credit scene.
They didn't finish it though.
Yeah.
Thank God for that.
Tomar Ray and Kilowog were supposed to come talk to Batman.
Tomar Ray, there we go.
That would not have been a good scene.
Yeah.
I think I wasn't even a huge fan of the post-credit scenes as it was, but I think what we got was still better than that.
Well, here's to hoping they do something good with Green Lantern and keep him off of Earth.
Yes. All right. So anyway, we're off track now. Let's bring it back with Ezra Miller as the Flash. So generally, I like Ezra Miller's performance as the Flash. The problem is that a lot of what I was seeing from him is a younger Flash, another younger Flash, trying to sort of get a handle around being the hero. And as it turns out, I've been watching a whole TV show about that for the last 3 years. Even to the point where some of the story elements were exactly the same when he's in prison visiting his dad, who's in jail for the murder of his mother, which Barry insists wasn't him. And
confirms the Reverse Flash.
Yeah. And then Henry Allen says to him, "You need to stop coming to visit me. You need to live your own life." And I think I have literally seen this exact scene play out on the TV show. Yeah. I have seen this story, and you're not giving me anything different. And if you're going to have the Flash in both places, give me something different. Don't just make them different. It's like bright red, dark red, but the same red. They're the same flavor. I want a different flavor of Flash. That is difficult to say, flavor of Flash, by the way. But I wanted to see maybe a different take on Barry Allen, and I didn't see it. And that's not to say that Ezra Miller didn't do a fantastic job. I loved the Flash in this movie, but I wanted something that wasn't like the Flash from the TV show, and I feel like I got a little bit more of what the Flash from the TV show would have been like. Maybe a little bit more bright-eyed and green than the Flash in the TV show, but still that same flavor of character.
Fair enough. I wasn't as much of a fan of Ezra Miller's portrayal as I would have hoped. I didn't care for a lot of his jokes. He was fine. I guess he was doing the best that he could with what was given to him. Like that brunch line, everyone in the theater laughed out loud, and I'm like, that wasn't funny. The only reason that was funny is because Superman brought it back in the race scene in the credits. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I didn't laugh at a lot of his, and then him falling into Wonder Woman's boobs. Damn it!
Yeah,
he seemed like the 15-year-old, the kid brother, who just kind of has to be there.
Yeah, I'd forgotten about that scene, but yeah, you're right. I audibly groaned. I don't have a defense for that. I'm sorry. It's just there was a lot of groan-worthy parts, and he definitely seemed to trip on himself and over a lot of things.
Yes.
How do you put the Flash in peril? You make him trip a lot, and that's what kept happening.
Have you seen the way he runs, though? Terrible.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
It is a really... I wonder, did somebody tell him to run like that? Because it was really peculiar looking.
Oh, God.
I mean, in my head, I envisioned, Quicksilver from the First Class. Quicksilver from First Class. And instead, what I seemed to get was, I don't know, maybe he really was a speed skater. It kind of looked like speed skating, didn't it?
I feel like they did that deliberately to show how green he is. Like, look, he can't even run properly.
Like, he doesn't really know how to control his speed and really get himself running, and he's not as fast as he could be.
But then how did he get the materials for his suit?
Yeah,
he just stole them, obviously.
He obviously built them. He probably stole them. Probably stole it. I don't know. Maybe Star Labs? I don't know. Cisco and Caitlin did it for him?
No.
I'm not Caitlin Snow anymore.
The dark, creepy guy in a wheelchair did it for him.
Oh, yeah.
Where every time he goes out with the suit, someone's always whispering into his ear,
Run,
"Run,
Barry.
run, Barry." And and the complaint that he always has every episode, "I'm not getting any faster."
Why am I not
What
getting
should I
faster?
do?
I need to be faster. I'm the fastest man alive, except for that guy.
What do I do? He's too fast. Have you tried running faster?
I need to run faster. We need to get faster. Oh, that's why I stopped watching that show. There was one point where like the Flash was freaking out because he'd never gone into battle and Batman was going to tell him what to do, and I was so scared I was going to hear Batman say, "Run, Barry." I was so afraid when he actually said, "Save one person. Go in there, save one person, get out." And then what? Then you'll know. Like, oh, actual real mentoring advice. Okay, good, because I thought he was going to say run, and that was going to be worthless.
He's like, "Oh, okay, I can do that." But I love that mentoring moment. I felt like that was like seriously like a great mentor moment, like you said.
That was a much bigger moment than I think people have given it credit for. That was huge. That was Batman being the 20-year weathered guy talking to the young kid who's never actually had to do more than maybe catch Captain Boomerang or stop a crime in progress. And finally said, all right, so just save a person. Go in there and save one person. Just focus on that. Don't worry about doing battle. And then from there, you'll know what to do next. You know, it was huge. And it was such a throwaway thing, but it was a big moment for Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that I mean, you know, it's an important moment for Flash too. And like I said, you know, Ezra Miller was okay, and I liked his, I guess, reaction to that of just being like, you know, he saved one person and then he's like, "Oh, I got to do that again." And he's like runs back in, and he does it twice in the movie, and I really appreciated that.
Yeah. No, it was a good moment for him. So now Jason Momoa is Aquaman. Let's get to Jason Momoa. I thought I was going to hate Aquaman.
Really?
I saw the previews and I thought this guy is going to be a giant D-bag, and I am not going to like his portrayal.
My man.
I walked out of this movie loving Aquaman. Even that stupid dressed like a giant bat, I dig it. Once in context, I didn't hate that line. Because in all the previews, I thought that line was terrible, and I was really upset. But then when you show in context that he's actually, you know, Bruce Wayne's told him about Batman, he's told him that he dresses as a little giant bat, and so now that reaction is to actually seeing for the first time what was only described to him in words. Now it makes sense. In context, it was great. But when it was just that sole line in the preview, I thought, what a giant D-bag. I am going to hate this guy so much.
Yeah, he did well. I'm excited to see Aquaman.
Yeah, and they even managed to get a quick setup for his movie, really quick. That was a little awkward, his random brief conversation with Mara, played by Amber Heard, but
in a water bubble.
No,
an air bubble.
They have said that that's not going to be how everyone talks in the Aquaman movie.
Thank God.
Why did they even do that here? I think they just did that just to make things a little bit easier for Justice League filming. But I think because there wasn't a lot of underwater stuff for him to actually do in this movie.
No, not really. But you know, for what it was, I do wish we had seen like a sweeping shot of Atlantis, because from what we were shown, it just seemed like it was like a I don't know, a bunch of rocks and then a pantheon of some sort.
Yeah, I really would have liked to have seen Atlantis more, but it makes sense. It's set up for his movie quite perfectly. So now we know through some mildly awkward exposition, but nothing I'm going to complain about, that, you know, his mother, he is the heir to the throne in Atlantis, but his mother abandoned him with his human father, so got that set up, and he doesn't really want to have anything to do with Atlantis or his mother. He just went down there simply because he wanted to check out what was going on and the big evil, and Batman had already talked to him, so he thought this was worth exploring a little bit. I don't know. I liked him.
Yeah, I mean, he was good, and I'm looking to see more of him.
Yeah, you made me like Aquaman, so, I mean, congratulations, because nobody likes Aquaman.
If they had gone with, like, the classic portrayal of Aquaman, like, everyone would have hated him.
Yeah, Jason Momoa is the only person that could have made Aquaman cool, I think. I don't know if even Idris Elba could have made Aquaman cool, but Jason Momoa pulled it off.
I don't know why Carl Urban popped in my head.
Carl Urban? No.
There's Aquaman? No.
You're crazy. First of all, he's Judge Dredd.
So he can't do anything else.
That is correct.
Comic book related.
He is Judge Dredd. You
To
just
do
gotta-
that, he'd have to take off his helmet, which is impossible.
He can't. All right. So Ray Fisher as Cyborg. I liked Ray Fisher as Cyborg. I don't know. I've seen some other character or some other people play Cyborg. Obviously, he's really big on the Teen Titans show. He showed up at Smallville. I think the CGI on Cyborg was a little strained at times, and I think it was very ambitious to have the whole movie with all the cyborgness around him. I think it would have been a little easier if he'd had his final cyborg design from the end of the movie at the beginning of the movie, when he would have been a little smoother, and it could have maybe been a bit more like Iron Man's suit instead of like, I don't even know what you'd call that. It looked a lot like the Transformers a little bit.
Kind of like a Megatron.
Yeah, exactly. It looked like Megatron. He looked like Megatron, where if he had just smoothed out his suit when you can have him like Megatron at first, but when he decides to join the team and help out, if he smooths out his suit then it's not as confusing, it's
Oh no!
Sense.
And he was even made from a cube. They just gave him metal parts. It's like the first Transformers movie.
It really is. He was
Mountain Dew
he was created by
Transformer.
the Allspark.
Yes.
The All-Spark Direct.
Yeah.
No, it's not. No.
No, it doesn't trip off the
Tri-Spark
tongue.
Direct?
No.
No.
Tri-Spark.
Yeah, we're straining that joke a little bit. All right. So I liked Ray Fisher in there. Where have I seen Ray Fisher from? Trying to think.
I think he's a Broadway guy.
See, I looked him up on IMDb, and there was nothing there that I would have seen. But he looked so familiar to me. So was he in something that he just didn't get credit for, or what's going on with him?
Oh, I don't know. We'd have to Google it. But
Yeah,
yes,
I'm not googling it.
appreciate-
I'm just done. But I will say I have seen that if DC sticks with their current plans, which nobody knows if they will or not, he is slated to appear in both the Flashpoint movie and in a solo Cyborg movie. So we got that going for us.
They're making a Flashpoint movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's the Flash's movie is just going to be Flashpoint.
What?
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, if I have to sit through another Flash origin story, I'm going to shoot myself in the face. But the last time somebody tried to do Flashpoint, and I'm looking at you, CW, it was not done very well. And I think they might actually do Flashpoint more similar to the comic books, in which, because you've already you build off of what's been established. You've established that Henry Allen is in jail for the murder that Barry doesn't think he did. So there is now a Reverse Flash who's probably going to be introduced. You can get
I feel like
Batman's
it's
parents to come
way-
back and play Batman and Joker. You can get Wonder Woman and Aquaman to be at war with each other, and Cyborg can play into it. And man, you don't even need to get Ben Affleck for this movie. So
I don't know, I just think it's way too early for Flashpoint.
I mean, listen,
Early?
maybe you don't change
don't
the
know.
whole world at the end of Flashpoint, but I think
Yeah.
you do the alternate reality story, because there's what other iconic Flash story is there to tell other than his origin, which nobody wants to see again.
Or something with the Rogues. But so I think from a I guess business standpoint, I think that's very smart, especially with the rumors of Ben Affleck possibly leaving, and then so either playing it like having a younger actor play him, or I don't even know, but just having a soft reset, because I don't think that they should reboot the whole thing. So
Yeah.
this would be a way out for anyone who wants out, and then recast who needs to be recasted, and then go from there. Because resetting the timeline, things can change, no matter how small or how big. So here's their chance. If they want to tweak things in the DCEU, there's your opportunity. I don't think it's too soon, as it is just trying to continue with fixing some of their errors along the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As long as I get my Ben Affleck Batman movie first.
Who knows? Ben Affleck keeps keeps waffling around left ways and right ways, and even I think Henry Cavill says he's only got one more movie contracted for Superman, so who knows if he'll stick around. But then he says he loves playing the more comic book version of Superman. So I don't trust anything that they say. I don't know. I have low faith in Warner Brothers.
Warner Brothers, you made the bed, now sleep in it. Okay? You can change the covers, wash the sheets, and everything like that, but do not throw out the mattress. You set this as the foundation.
That is a very, very tried metaphor.
Is it?
I think you took it too far. You got to back
Don't
off.
reboot it, is what I'm saying. Don't reboot it, okay? Make any changes you need to, but you've already started down this path because you wanted a piece of the pie. So just just go with it and, do your thing. I mean, okay, so it didn't make $100 million when it first came out in the first weekend. That doesn't mean it's a failure.
Yeah. Well, they've lost a ton of money, so I think they're pretty safe calling it a failure. Which it doesn't deserve to be a failure, but I think if you just look at the budget to make the film and what it made its money back. But they put so much into their media campaigning that they shot themselves in the foot a little bit, I think. But, everything makes its money back in DVD sales, so I'm not that worried about it.
Reshoots, CGI, all that jazz.
Yeah, if I were, the CGI. Superman's upper lip was so expensive, and that's how it came out. But if I was Warner Brothers, I guess probably the best way to do this is just very casually start swapping out actors as contracts expire and you can't get people to come back. Mm-hmm. And then just don't make mention of it, just let it keep happening. You don't want to make it a big deal like when it happened to Rhodey. You want it to just be, all right, and all of a sudden now this guy's Batman. And we're just going to say, all right, hey, it's Bruce Wayne as Batman. That's who this guy is now. And then you just sort of have this shared universe, but the characters are shared, but the actors, if they swap them out often enough and casually enough without making a big deal about it, then nobody's going to really mind if all of a sudden Henry Cavill's not playing Superman and Brandon Routh is again. And nobody's going to
changing voice actors.
Yeah, like when people change voice actors, it's just as long as you got the same look and feel of the character and the costume, and if a different actor's in the role every now and then as contracts expire, you can just keep it rolling. Because that's what's going to end up killing the Marvel universe, is because they've tried so hard to keep it consistent, is that eventually Robert Downey Jr. is not going to play Iron Man anymore, and he's been in so many movies at this point. Can you recast him and people still going to go along with it? Or is Marvel going to hit that point where they have to reset? Whereas if Warner Brothers kind of takes advantage of their chaos that they've created for themselves and just allows the flux of actors playing different roles across different movies but still being the same character, and if they can get us on board with it, so they have to do it right. So low confidence, but if they can, then they have the advantage of they can just keep their shared universe going with different actors from Infinity and beyond. I apologize for that reference, and I immediately regret that phrase.
Calling it now, they use the Infinity Gauntlet and beyond to do their recasting, because it's like, put this on, you're God, do whatever you want. Oh look, Iron Man's a different person now. Wow.
No, Iron Man's who's a young up and coming actor who could play Iron Man? Ryan Gosling. Oh, look. Ryan Gosling's Iron Man.
Yeah.
People like Ryan Gosling, right?
Yeah, why not?
Sure.
The world is your oyster. Are we done with characters?
I'm trying to think. We should probably at least briefly mention J.K. Simmons as Commissioner Gordon.
I was about to say, if you didn't mention him, I'd be very upset.
J.K. Simmons was Commissioner Gordon. Of course, he's most famous for being the yellow M&M.
I listened to a review that basically said he's in another comic book movie, and that they thought that he was playing J. Jonah Jameson.
I think he did fine as Commissioner Gordon. He did everything I would expect Commissioner Gordon to do, and he made his funny statements. I wonder why, at this point in time, why does Commissioner Gordon ever actually take his eyes off of Batman?
Right. He never seems to be used to it.
Why do you look away? And then why is it when he's gone, when you look back, why are you constantly surprised by this?
But what gets me, though, is like, apparently Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman all decided at some point they were going to pull this ninja vanish. Like, all just immediately, like, okay, guys, as soon as he turns around, just book it.
And then nobody told Flash.
Disappear. Yeah.
The fastest man alive couldn't follow the action of that scene.
Like, he really didn't notice that they left?
Yeah. Like, dude, you're standing right next to him.
Oh, that was rude.
Well, don't get me wrong. No, it was funny, and I laughed. I laughed a lot, but it was rude.
Oh, wait, Superman wasn't even there. What am I thinking? Anyway.
Aquaman. Right?
It was Aquaman,
Or was it Cyborg?
It was Cyborg.
It was Cyborg.
Whatever.
Aquaman wasn't there yet, so Cyborg. It was Cyborg, and yeah. I was in my head trying to replay it to myself, thinking, like, who did he say Aquaman? Or did he say Cyborg? But, all right, there we go. We fixed it. All right, so let's also mention, just briefly, because I want to, Detective Crispus Allen, who I hope shows up in the Batman movie, got a brief appearance by Kobna Holbrook-Smith, who people remember. I mentioned him on a Hero Talk for Doctor Strange. He played the physical therapist.
Oh, huh.
Yeah.
All right.
There you go.
How much of an impression he made on me, I guess.
Well, I mean, when you came up and talked to Gordon, I remember thinking, I wonder if that's supposed to be Crispus Allen. And so I went and looked it up, and yes, it is.
What if he's the thread that ties them all together and we get Marvel versus DC?
And,
Maybe I'll finally
he's
get to see Justice
he's the
League.
Watcher.
I'm glad they're using Crispus Allen, and I hope they don't make him the Spectre, because that was my least favorite thing they did with that character. I would like to see, not that you could, if you make a movie in Gotham without Batman in it, you're having a bad time, but I would like to see Renee Montoya and Crispus Allen at least be prominent characters in a Batman movie, because they are pretty prominent support characters for Batman, honestly.
I gotta have the Bullock.
Oh yeah, you gotta have Harvey Bullock. You have to. But you know what? By seeing Crispus Allen, I'm faithful that I might see Harvey Bullock. That being said, we're going to talk about anyone else. Cyborg's dad was the guy from Terminator 2. He once again plays another scientist that uses technology he doesn't understand. That's a really particular, specific typecast he has. That's all I got. Joe Morton is his name. You know what? We got to see the Amazons again. We got to see Connie Nielsen play Queen Hippolyta, and I think somewhere in the big story time flashback, I think we actually got to see Buttercup playing Antiope again. Did we get to see that?
What?
Antiope, Wonder Woman's aunt, Hippolyta's sister. They actually said Antiope in the Wonder Woman movie, but I've been watching a lot of DC superhero girls, and in that they specifically say Antiope. And when it comes to pronunciation of characters' names, DC superhero girls is the standard by which I judge others.
So, yeah, the Amazons, there's that scene where, like, the mother box is, like, cracking open or whatever, and they're all, like, surrounding it with, like, bows and arrows, and I'm like, this is why you need to adapt with the times.
Yeah.
Imagine
I agree.
like, Amazons with, like, modern firearms.
Once they were introduced to modern firearms, you would think they would improve their techniques a little bit. But you know what? I will say about the Amazons is they are a tenacious people.
Oh, yeah.
And they believe in their technology, and they will use it effectively. So
I did appreciate that marathon getting the box away from Steppenwolf.
That was a fun. I shouldn't say it's a fun scene. That was a lot of people died, but it was a decent action scene, and it was good to see the Amazons fighting again, and a little bit of Wonder Woman in there again,
and actually being competent.
Yes,
like they weren't just like, well, they were total ragdolls against Steppenwolf, but they would at least were like, trying really hard and acting smart about it. We got to get this thing out of here.
Yeah, by just the nature in which they had to try to get it away from Steppenwolf by any means necessary gave the right sort of depth and the right impact for how important it was that Steppenwolf can't get the mother boxes, because when you see that they were willing to just outright sacrifice themselves if that meant that Steppenwolf couldn't get the mother box. I mean, how many of them just stood up there knowing they were going to die, knowing that they were just, they destroyed the whole pathway to get out of the room they were in, understanding they were going to crush themselves and trap themselves in there. But it was that important to keep the mother box out of his hands. They put the necessary weight on how big a threat he was with those scenes. Because honestly,
the Atlanteans.
Yeah, the Atlanteans, that was not a very impressive fight when we saw it. It just wasn't. I mean,
on a sliding scale of who did the best with defending their box, the Amazons did the very best. The Atlanteans were just kind of like, they kept it out in the open with a couple of
the
darts.
humans did the best.
I would say the humans probably were the worst, because the humans forgot that they just left it unattended.
They dug a 5-foot hole and said, "This'll be good."
Yeah.
It worked. It worked for a while until all of a sudden. The problem with the humans is all right. So the 5-foot hole didn't work, and they found it in World War I. Sure, but when you think once Batman gets his hands on the Triceract, you would think that at least Batman's going to do a good job of keeping it safe. But it turns into when Batman, and in fact the Justice League at this point has it, they then kind of forget that they're supposed to be guarding it, and they just leave it unattended somewhere.
To be fair,
like there was no actual fight.
To be fair,
Steppenwolf shows
Superman.
up and he says, "Oh, it's right here then. All right then. I was expecting more resistance, but this is easy." And then he leaves. They just show the boom tube showing up over where they were, and they think, "Oh shoot, none of us thought to bring that with us." The Flash could have just grabbed the mother box and just started running. Like, Flash, just do Earth laps while we deal with the Superman thing.
Yeah, I think I think that could have
Imagine
been.
how badly the plot would have been broken if he had just gone for that one instead of the Atlantis one first.
Oh, the human
The
one?
human one, yeah. It's like, oh, mine now.
It's so much easier to get.
Yeah, he did the wrong order. That's the problem.
He got the hardest one first, and then it got progressively easier.
Yeah.
And why is it that he told after getting 2 of them, that he knew exactly where they were? Why is it that he's like telling his parademons to go get the 3rd one? Because he ends up getting the 3rd one anyway.
Yeah, I don't know.
Am I thinking too hard about it?
I think you're thinking too hard about it.
Maybe it was like a command. Open the portal so I may royally step through it and claim my prize, parademons. Go forth.
Yeah, because trying to find the human one was a big deal when the Amazon one just called him and he came right to it. And the same with the Atlantean one, but then not for the humans. For the humans, where is it? It's lost somewhere. It won't call to me. That's kind of weird.
Maybe it's because the humans were actually using it, so it was like
That's a good point.
like had less juice or something. So it's like,
Yeah,
oh,
maybe.
I can't call him.
Everyone else just hid theirs, and the humans
Yeah.
originally did. But then once we dug it up, we thought, well, we could probably use this for some stuff. That's what we do. And another good point about this, when you think about it, is that back when Steppenwolf was defeated the first time, they had the Atlanteans, and they're strong, but they were using, medieval-style weapons, and you had the Amazons, again, using medieval-style weapons, all the kingdoms of man together, and then you had some advancement there with the Green Lanterns and with the Pantheon of Gods, but us humans, we've got better at killing each other over the years. I would like to think that if Steppenwolf thought he was going to step up, a tactical nuke probably could have done the job. We're going to eliminate most of the country you're sitting in right now, but you're not going to survive it. So
You don't know that.
I doubt he would. I mean, if Superman's whipping him around like that and he's getting tossed around, if his special super weapon could be shattered just by some cold.
Honestly, I'm going to say that nuke would have obliterated him because Superman got nuked in the last movie. And he wasn't so hot. So imagine, like, Steppenwolf, who was so much weaker than Superman. I think he'd been blown to smithereens.
Yeah. I really think mankind could have just handled that. I think Batman didn't really need to unite the League. Batman just needed to get his hands on an ICBM.
Look,
and Batman has the resources to get his hands on an ICBM.
You can get 10 of them.
If
Could have
we
put the
got
watchtower up
hold
and
of a
used
nuke-
super special laser beams from the watchtower.
If we got hold of a nuke to basically get rid of Steppenwolf, we wouldn't have had the amazing story of how that family held up in that one place the entire time. And then only then, once things started happening, they left.
After Batman had the plan to lure all the... he didn't think that plan... Batman keeps doing this. And this happens in a lot of different Batman stories. His plan is, I'm just going to self-sacrifice myself to give everybody else a chance to get the job done.
We know.
And it never
we know
works.
that Bruce has a death wish.
Yeah, it never works because then everyone always stops like, oh no, we got to save Batman. Well, you just defeated the whole point of his plan in the first place.
It's like
A plan that
this is
could have
the
just
plan.
as easily been taken care of with a remote-controlled Batmobile, Bruce. Just saying.
This isn't the plan. No, this is the team.
Yeah, or maybe, I don't know, I'm just spitballing here. Pick something a little bit faster than the Batmobile to lead them away, where you could actually stay ahead of them, like the Batwing.
Or the Flash.
Yeah, or the Flash. Just saying, you didn't think that all the way through, Bruce. You once again, you didn't 100% plan it out. There are ways. You can't just immediately go to self-sacrifice. You're not Optimus Prime, okay? You have to. There are varying levels of things you should try first. Self-sacrifice is your last resort when all other lesser means have failed. That's not your first opinion. What are you going to do the next time something happens? I'm going to sacrifice myself. Okay, just relax, Bruce.
He's going to ram the Batmobile into Darkseid.
Let's not start with self-sacrifice.
So speaking
Let's get
of
there
Batman
organically.
fighting,
Yeah.
I am so glad. Like the fact that this did not happen made me so glad that Batman was not fighting side by side with Superman as like some kind of equal or something. Because no.
Oh my god.
Superman is so much better.
Were you expecting that to happen?
Yes.
A little bit. I mean, it definitely made it clear that really once they got to the cosmic cube there, or the mother box. I keep confusing the Tesseract and the mother box because who wouldn't? at this
It's
point.
okay
The
if you
magical
get it
cube
mixed up.
MacGuffin is just a worn-out premise, even if DC did have it first. He was really just doing crowd control with the parademons, because that's about all he was really equipped to handle at that point.
That's what Batman is good for. He fights human enemies. He solves crimes. He's a detective. He doesn't need to be fighting legions of parademons. Like this is what upsets me about like Marvel when I see Black Widow fighting side by side with Thor, Iron Man, and the Hulk. It's, no, your tiny double Glocks. They mean nothing here. Stop it.
Mm-hmm. I really thought. Now we get to see that new suit that he has, and don't get me wrong, it looked pretty cool. But I kept thinking to myself, you know that armored suit you used to fight Superman? I bet that'd be really handy right about now. Bet you could do some really good damage with maybe some better gear in a fight where you know you're going to be fighting. You know, maybe even have had that suit when you went to confront Superman. Maybe you said, hey, you know what? Last time I fought this guy, it almost ended very badly for me. I should probably have some backup. And not Lois Lane backup, like Kryptonite backup.
I thought it honestly was going to be Kryptonite.
Mm-hmm.
Like I thought it was like, oh no, I have a plan for this in case he goes rogue or whatever. And it's like, oh my god, here comes the Kryptonite, and turned out to be Lois Lane.
We
instead.
were meant to think it was Kryptonite, then to see it be Lois Lane, but
yeah,
because we're very much trying to show us that this is now a different Batman to the point where he now admires Superman's humanity, whereas he didn't consider him a person until the final scenes of Batman v Superman.
Right.
But it's just very. I just really thought that they should have had another iteration of that armored suit. I would just like, every time Batman shows up, I want to see the armored suit get pulled out for something. I want to see another updated version of the armored suit. And I think even when he wants to confront Superman, maybe just to keep him busy just long enough for, you know, maybe don't even do Batman v Superman. Get rid of that movie completely. This is our Batman v Superman scene here in Justice League. Don't even call this movie Justice League. Call this Dawn of Justice.
That would make way too much sense.
I'm going way on a tangent on this, but I think that would have been better. I would have rather seen this be why Batman had to fight Superman, and that he's just using the kryptonite to keep him at bay just long enough for Lois Lane to be involved, and then you have a reason for them to fight that's organic, then Lois Lane gets involved, and then he still has the ultimate armored suit that he can bring to the fight with Steppenwolf, which he would need, because he's fighting parademons and Steppenwolf. Just saying.
He shouldn't be fighting Steppenwolf. No.
I would say what maybe he should have done is when he had this mother box and all the technology that it brings, and he could have said, hey, why don't we take this, and why don't we make my armor better? And then I can have Apocalyptian armor, and with Apocalyptian armor, maybe I can hold my own against all these things. But that didn't happen. Although he was able to learn about the mother boxes, because apparently when parademons explode, they leave expositional symbols behind.
Yeah, why did they do that, and how does he know they can smell fear?
Because greatest detective ever.
Yeah. I don't know where the smelling fear came from. Is that a recent thing in the comics? Because that has never really been a thing for parademons.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, they kidnap people, sure, but smelling fear.
Yeah. And then, just to completely turn on Steppenwolf, in the comic books, they are exceptionally clear that parademons are loyal to Darkseid. And if you are loyal to Darkseid, you don't screw up his plan to come to Earth by turning on his lieutenant. When those parademons
maybe that was like a sign that because he showed fear, he was not a worthy lieutenant of Darkseid.
Yeah, should have sent Kala back. That's the lesson learned. Next time, send Kala back.
So what are we hoping to see when we get to movies down the line? Let's say they continue after Aquaman. Let's say they continue in the next Justice League with the Legion of Doom or the Injustice League or whatever it is that was teased with Lex Luthor and Deathstroke. And room for more chairs around the Justice League table headquarters in Bruce Wayne's house.
Yeah, was that his house? Was that like
that
the old Wayne Manor?
Old Wayne family manor,
which someone's bound to notice a bunch of superheroes congregating on Wayne property.
Well, they haven't noticed that Bruce Wayne's new Wayne Manor is on a Batman-shaped lake, so...
No, it isn't.
Did you not catch that? Yeah, that lake is shaped like a bat.
No, it isn't.
Go look it up. Look it up right now. I'll wait.
No, it isn't.
Google that.
Google it. You gotta understand, like,
Google
this man is obsessed with bats. If he puts bat hubcaps on his car, he's a billionaire. Of course he's gonna make a lake shaped like a bat. Why not?
No.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, it is.
I told you so.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It's a
Oh,
bat-shaped
that was in Batman
lake.
v Superman 2, which means it took me 2 years to notice that.
It's shaped like a bat.
Oh, wow, that's really stupid.
I know. It's so dumb.
But so are bat hubcaps.
Oh my god. So, what?
Yep.
Oh my god. Why?
Because he's Batman.
Because he's Batman.
And no satellites are picking this up. Oh, I forgot. He owns all the
He
satellites.
owns all the satellites.
Oh, okay. So he's gonna host the Justice League in the old Wayne Manor. He's gonna revamp it, kill all the contractors that he hires to revamp it, and yeah, then we'll have our new Justice League versus Injustice League.
Or he could just have the Flash revamp it in like a day.
Yeah, honestly, just have the Flash do it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so anyway. So let's talk about, because we mentioned him, Joe Manganiello. I think that's it. Joe Manganiello, who played Deathstroke.
Ah.
Is it weird that I now, because of Manu Bennett, I now want Deathstroke to have a New Zealand accent, and it's weird that he doesn't?
It's not weird, no.
Yeah, not really.
Yeah.
He did a very good job.
He did. I like him. I mean, he looked the part. Listen, he looked it, even when he took the mask off. Yeah, it's Slade Wilson.
Oh, I was talking about Manu Bennett. Like, I would rather have him.
I like Manu Bennett. I like his accent. I've now permanently associated that accent with Deathstroke.
Yeah,
and I'm okay with it. So
let's pull a Kano and just forever make him that way.
I agree. I am all on board with that. And maybe he didn't only have the one line, so maybe he'll actually have the accent.
I doubt it.
Next time. Yeah. I'll be so perfectly honest, when I first saw that scene at the end, when it's supposed to show that Lex Luthor escaped Arkham Asylum, I completely misinterpreted that scene and thought that they were saying is that there was another Lex Luthor, like his dad, who we never get mentioned what happened to him, was in Arkham. Because I didn't think Lex was in Arkham. I thought he was at probably Blackgate or something. I don't see why he'd be in Arkham and not in real prison, but whatever.
Batman
Did you
promised
see the
that
last
he would ship him
scene
to Arkham.
in Batman vs Superman? Guy's clearly crazy.
Yeah. Ding, ding, ding,
And
ding, ding. All
Batman did say, I'm going to, I know people at Arkham who are going to keep a close eye on you there, or something like that.
Well, it didn't work because he switched his place with another bald guy.
You managed to break out
No, for
anyway.
all his experience, you would think he would know Arkham is a revolving door at this point.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, he probably got put in a cell with a hole already in it dug to the outside.
Probably. It's like Joker was here, and there's like a tally mark every time he escapes, Just
It's already, there's literally a door on the other side of my cell that leads outside. I don't know if you guys were aware of that.
There's even a fridge with complimentary snacks.
Yeah. Somebody's been stocking this from the outside, coming in and leaving stuff in here. We're okay with that? We just looking the other way on this, apparently?
We're rolling with it.
All right. Do we want to talk anything else, Justice League, before we start wrapping this one up? I feel like there's so much more we could nitpick, but... So
speaking to what Vernon was talking about, what we want to see, so that scene in the last movie with, the Batman fight scene in the warehouse, I want to see kind of like Arkham Origins, like I want to see a Batman versus Deathstroke just brawl.
I do want to see that.
Yeah.
You know what? I'd like to see... If they're going to make another Batman movie and we can't get Ben Affleck, then I think the best thing I want to see the origins of this Batman. I mean, he had a 20-year career before Superman showed up and changed things. I'd like to see some stories about that. Some stories set in like the early 2000s where, you don't have to make everyone seem so primitive and make it a period piece because the early 2000s weren't that different than now. But, some stories of him with wind-up exploding penguins.
Or with Robin.
Death in the Family. That could be a story. Yeah. That could be a major story, and we could finally maybe see Jared Leto as a not messed up Joker in that one.
I think you mean not damaged.
No, I very specifically did not say that.
Or maybe, he could play like a not messed up Joker, and then like because of the whole Death in the Family story, like Batman like beats him so savagely.
No.
You broke Greg.
No. No, we're gonna pretend that didn't happen. That will be our apology for Suicide Squad.
I actually like that. I like that
Squad.
idea.
Yeah, Suicide. All right, but
who's gonna stop Superman from abducting the president?
Oh, well, I know who. I found Slipknot. He can climb anything.
He can climb anything.
That'll stop Superman.
Okay, I do have a legitimate like Superman question though.
Okay.
Does he just go back to being Clark Kent and working at the Daily Planet now? And
He
how do they
can't, right?
explain-
Because Clark Kent died. You can come back
Yeah.
as Superman, and you can kind of get away with that, but Clark Kent died. Although, if anybody strolled up to that cemetery in the course of that day or so that all these events were taking place, they probably sat there and thought, holy crap, somebody stole Clark Kent's body. Like, like coffin and everything. They exhumed the whole thing, and they opened it, and then they just took off with it. And then all of a sudden he shows up again alive. That's going to freak some people out. And the only thing that I think could get away with that is that in Man of Steel, they kind of half established that most of Smallville knows that he's Superman. And so they're all just going to keep their mouths shut.
Is that what that was?
Yes.
I thought it was just the IHOP guy.
No, I think they kind of made... Well, if you think about it, I mean, the cops take Lois Lane to the Kent farm when Superman's there. I mean, it's... Zod and his buddies went straight to the Kent farm to look for Superman. I think we're supposed to believe it's well established that Smallville just kind of knows the secret and they just keep their mouths shut about it.
I mean, when you have a kid like lifting school buses, it's kind of hard not to notice.
Yeah, that's my take.
One thing I liked Cyborg for was that because his character just existed, it saved us from hearing Batman explain technobabble. Like, so now it's Cyborg's job.
Yeah. Although it takes away one of Batman's key roles on the team is to sit at a computer and type away and, say things like, well, I'm going to just break into the White House and reroute all the security systems and everything. So now Cyborg just
better.
does that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's more efficient, certainly is.
But yeah, I also kind of liked that Batman is actually shown with, like, severe injuries, like, in that one scene.
Oh,
he's
yeah.
all, like, bruised up.
Yeah,
and everyone else is fine.
Got tossed around by Superman a little bit, and even... they make a point of saying, and Aquaman says it during the scene in which he actually like spills his heart out because he gets secretly lassoed with the lasso of Hestia, which is really awkward when Wonder Woman has to name drop it to try to remind people who didn't see Wonder Woman what the lasso's for. The lasso of Hestia compels you to tell the truth. Do you need to say that to him? Like, it'll do it whether you say that or not. I don't know why you would say that out loud, Wonder Woman, unless you just were saying that for the sake of somebody who might happen to have seen this happen but didn't know what you did in World War I, and it's like very awkward exposition, but I forgive it because it was Wonder Woman. All right, anything else you guys want to talk about before we go into favorite parts?
Nah.
All right, favorite parts. So now it's time when Hero Talk we can say what our favorite part of the movie was, and Axalon, I'll start with you. What was your favorite part of Justice League?
Undisputably, it was the scene where Superman and Flash make eye contact. And
yes,
absolutely.
He
starts following the Flash, and the Flash is reacting. He's like, "Oh my God, he can actually track me and see me and fight me." He's having a small panic attack the whole time, and
that was paced perfectly. So the Flash starts running, and you're seeing things from the Flash's point of view, and everyone's holding still, and then suddenly Superman catches him in his peripheral and starts tracking his movement, and the Flash is freaking out. Which he probably should be. Like, oh no. Turns out Superman is not so slow that he's standing still to me. And then he comes up to him. Now, again, my nitpick, Flash should be faster, and I would like at a future movie to well establish that Flash has now pushed himself and knows his limitations and doesn't trip over his feet and doesn't run like a psychopath and can now outrun Superman. But for that moment there, when we have a young, untested Flash who just realizes, oh shoot, Superman can actually step to me, that was hilarious, and I was laughing so hard.
Yeah, easily the best scene in the whole movie was that one, in my opinion.
You kind of took mine.
I know.
You kind of took mine too, because quite frankly, that was easily. I mean, it's not even close. It's the best scene of the movie because you're just waiting for it to happen. You're like, Flash, he's fast too. Flash. No, you got it. You figured it out. Yeah. Oh, I love that scene so much. The whole theater was roaring, laughing. It was so perfectly executed and shown. Oh, great scene.
Very well done.
Very well done. All right. Vernon, I know that Axalon just took yours. Do you have a runner up to throw in there?
The one that I will mention is I think we talked about it earlier, but I know it's so cheesy, but the truth and justice line that Superman has when he's like when he's just about to wreck Steppenwolf, because it was eye rolling and also pretty funny at the same time.
Yeah. I actually did not like that very much. In my theater, nobody really reacted to that. But what I will say is when the Flash and Cyborg finally got their fist bump. I think that was it was nice that they brought that back and they finally did the fist bump thing. It was if I can't choose the Flash and Superman meeting each other's eyes, then that's what I pick.
Actually, that whole group shot, I really appreciated that.
It was. I enjoyed that group shot too. It was nicely done.
Someone even pointed out that group shot had like meaning if you actually looked into it. Like you had Flash and Cyborg, they were the accidents, quote unquote, like here, and then you had like the ancient civilization people. You had Aquaman and Wonder Woman here, like on the other side, and then up front you had like the modern superhero, Superman, Batman, like standing
the
in front
world's
center.
finest superheroes. Yeah. All right.
Interesting.
Let's score it.
I wouldn't have thought of that.
Let's score it. Now's the time on Hero Talk where we assign movies a score, and as I want to remind my listening audience, review scores are dumb, and they don't matter. Vernon, what would you score Justice League?
I will give this... Oh my god, I had a perfect one. I had the perfect one.
And you forgot, and I'm not cutting this.
It.
Everyone gets to hear you forget.
Damn it. I'll give it 3 Triceratops out of 5.
Triceratops out of 5. All right, Axalon, how about you?
I give this a Superman tracks Flash 5 times out of a billion.
I give it Superman's upper lip. Come on, guys. It looked
just
awful.
Superman's upper lip.
It looked awful. Because that's what I think about. When I think about Justice League, as awesome as I love this movie. Don't get me wrong. I love the crap out of this movie, and all of my complaints are the nitpickiest of nitpicks. But that's what we do on Hero Talk. But man, Superman's upper lip. That's what I come back to. That's the score. Superman's upper lip. All right, and that was Justice League. There we go. I'm happy. Are you guys happy?
Yay.
That didn't sound very happy.
Yeah.
Well, it's a good entry into the DCEU. Let's hope that they keep going on from here.
Yeah. All right. If you want to hear any more of our podcasts or check out our Let's Plays, interviews, reviews, articles, or any of our, I already said podcasts, but I'll say it again because it's important. If you want to check out any of our podcasts, Let's Plays, movies, reviews, we don't have movies. I'm forgetting our content. I'm screwing it up. So, if you want to check out any more of our content to include this podcast or the others from Enthusiacs.com or any of our Let's Plays, interviews, reviews, articles, go to Enthusiacs.com and check it out. You should also check out our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Enthusiacs, for any of the repeated content that we keep seeing from Axalon. Axalon, holy cow, you put out a lot of content. So check it out there. Also, shout out for the Loosely Connected Network, of which Enthusiacs is a member. You can see a lot of great content there. So check out thelooselyconnected.com for a lot of YouTube channels, networks, podcasts. Go check it out. Check out our YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter. We are twitter.com/Enthusiacs. And until next time, this is Judge Greg saying, I hear you can talk to fish. A lot of really good contributors there. You can check out, I believe it's looselyconnectednetwork.com. I need to look that up. That's an important thing because I'm going to screw it up. And Tony's going to get mad at me. I can't even Google Loosely Connected Network. It hasn't been around long enough. It's so awkward. I'm going to have to cut this. This is just ridiculous.